Hello Battlecats players, my name is Chance and welcome to my guide. Now let me start today's video by asking you all a question. Could you, in your wildest dreams, in your heart of hearts, in your mind's eye, ever imagine a collab unit that's actually good? I mean, suspend disbelief, ladies and gentlemen, for today I introduce to you quite possibly one of the only good collaboration units. And of course it is a unit that I have a very small inclination on how to pronounce. I'm going to call him Chibigau for the majority of this. If that's wrong, I do apologize, but it's the best I got. In any case, Chibigau is a rare unit that can be obtained from the Princess Punt Sweets collaboration event. And I'm going to do my best to explain everything there is to know about him so that you can make a more informed decision on not only how to use them, but also how far to invest into them, if at all. It is of course worth noting that this is a Japanese exclusive, so if you're playing the English version of the game, I'm afraid the only thing I can offer you is, well, insight for one, but perhaps the slightest glimmer of hope that one day this unit will be available on all versions of the game. Let's first take a look at Chibigau's evolutions. Starting out with Chibigau's description reads, a commonly seen character in Princess Punt, high defense against black enemies, and best used as a cheap defense against black enemies. At level 10, it evolves into Chibigau, whose description is the exact same. However, fairly recently-ish, it was given a true form called Crystal Chibigau, whose description reads, a commonly seen character in Princess Punt, its body becomes crystal and nullifies a knockback, best used as a cheap unit against black enemies. Now then, let's move on to discussing a brief overview of the performance of Chibigau. First and foremost, its class is considered to be a meat shield, these being units with low cost or minimal recharge time, and typically have either the survivability or high health. As pros, you have cheap cost and moderate HP, under cons, mediocre movement speed, single target and low range, and other considerations, you have resistant to black enemies, which means it takes 1/4 or 1/5 damage depending on what Catfruit treasures you have unlocked, and immune to knockback while in true form. Now, one thing I would like to point out is there is an argument to be made that the low range is actually a benefit, as typically you want meat shields as close to the enemies as possible so they do not hit your more precious units. Also, I will point out that its cheap cost is very subjective. It is more expensive than a lot of the other meat shields in the game, but given its viability specifically against black enemies, it does make a little bit more sense. Now then, let's talk about strategy and check out some gameplay. Chapter 1, this unit will cost 200, Chapter 2, 300, and Chapter 3, 400. Which is kind of what I was talking about earlier, like a fair bit more expensive than your standard meat shields are going to be, certainly relative to Gato and Cat, but you know, it is one of those things where against black enemies, it does kind of make sense. Even more so, given how aggressive the black pushers are, the immunity to knockback has a particular usefulness to it, specifically when it comes to holding the line. One of the more prominent black or anti-black meat shields, I should say, is Nono, and this unit has essentially just better stats across the board, making Chibigau arguably one of the better anti-black meat shields to exist across Battlecats as a whole. Of course, this is a little bit upsetting given the fact that he is, for all intents and purposes, region locked, which, if you ask me, is kind of upsetting, but all of the Princess Punts are kind of in the same block, I guess, if you want to look at them like that, or category. And with how many awful units there are in that collaboration event, I can only... It's a difficult thing to complain too harshly about not having that event in the main game. However, when it comes to Chibigau, it is particularly rough because there are actually valid use cases for him in the meta. Maybe not always as a primary meat shield, but certainly a viable filler meat shield. And I mean, man, just look at him attack. Like, the animation is so smooth. His style and artwork is so interesting. Like, it's such a dang waste. Moving on, as far as the Catfruits you're going to need to true form this unit, you're going to need 2 purple seeds, which can be obtained every Tuesday, 1 blue seed, which can be obtained every Thursday, 1 yellow seed, which can be obtained every Friday, and 200,000 XP. Overall, not a crazy cost to true form. Since there's no official trivia for this unit, I just want to point out again, like, damn, look at his animation and art. That is some high quality 8K, OLED. Just it looks really dang good. That is actually probably one of the bigger letdown about the Princess Punt collab not being in the main game, is some of the artwork for these units is just top tier. And you have to bear in mind, we're doing things in release order, so this was one of the first ever Battle Cats collaboration events, and I really think they went all out for it. I also particularly like how in the evolved form, so Chibigau, you can see the crystals forming on the spine, which is pretty neat, and it folds very nicely into crystal Chibigau for just really that aesthetic purpose. Like they kind of, I don't know, led with the idea, I guess? Or at the very least did a little bit of foreshadowing. But that is really about all there is to say about Chibigau. Let me know what you guys think about whether or not it would be a good or bad thing to import the entire Princess Punt event into the game, at least into the English and other languages of the game, or if you guys would just rather leave it out because of all the bad units in it. I suppose at the end of the day, even the bad units could give you rank, but I just feel like it would be totally just what a buzzkill of an experience to make a rare capsule roll in the Princess Punt event, only end up getting something like Swordsman. Like, I would really dislike that experience. However, I'm supposing there's someone who's going to be like, well, actually, you should only wait until guaranteed rolls before you spend anything like that. And like, I agree with those people, like especially when it comes to cat food. You typically want to min-max your resources as much as possible because Bonus doesn't really give you a ton of it ever, and it's kind of important to, I don't know, take advantage of it while you can. But still, man, like, I don't know, sometimes just min-maxing isn't always the funnest thing. In any case, thank you so much everyone for watching until this point. Definitely means the world to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe for Cat God's blessing on your next gacha roll. And as always, I will be talking to you all soon.